Hey guys, this is Mistress Nightmare here, and today we'll be reading a new Laughing Jack fanfiction for you guys. I'm gonna try something new instead of the typical creepypasta background and a voiceover in my voice. I'm trying to bring out this fella once more. Hopefully he doesn't bug out like normal. Anyway, so we'll be reading this story I call You Are Not Leaving, a Laughing Jack story. Note, this is going to be an ongoing story that I'll be updating for you guys, so I hope you guys enjoy chapter 1. Deanna's point of view. Deanna, look at this, my cousin Max squealed excitedly, rushing towards me with something close to her chest. What is that? I asked, curiously brushing my black bangs with my wide green eyes. I stared at the monochromatic box wrapped tightly in her arms. It is Laughing Jack's box. It is where my best friend, LJ, lives, she beamed, glancing down at the painted black details on the top of the box. She ran her fingers along the top of it. Who is EJ? I asked her, watching her roll her eyes at me. Laughing Jack. Duh. Watch this, she said with a slight dark grin, gripping the box handle and cranking it, listening to a slow, eerie melody of Pop Goes the Weasel that could be heard ringing through the now silent air. As the twisted song came to an end, the lid popped open, making my heart bounce or beat in fear. As I peered in the box, my wide green eyes stared at the hollow blank inside of the box. I started to breathe out of confusion, expecting something to lift out of the box until I was cut out by a happy cry or squeal from Max saying, EJ, you're here, or LJ. EJ. She grinned, looking up towards the gray sky that hung above you. Max, what are you doing? I asked, cocking an eyebrow at my smiling cousin. She turned towards me confused. That's my cousin, Deanna. Why? She questioned, looking at the sky again. I leaned against the rough bark of the pine tree where I was resting earlier. Though it was an imaginary friend, right? All kids go through that at some point. Racing through my thoughts, my mind, as I threw a glance at Max, who was staring at me again. Deanna, what does sexy mean? Laughing Jack's point of view. I felt Max pick up my box again, carefully, and rushing downstairs, slamming the door open of the outside world. Deanna, take a look at this, Max squealed in that annoying high-pitched voice. I can't stand it. I can't wait to rip out her pressy little throat. I am not doing that laugh. I was lost in my murderous thoughts until my new playmate, Max, started cranking up the handle of my box, letting my melody ring through the air, and I was finally free yet again. As the lid sprung open, my monochromatic form leaped out of the restraints of the black and white box. I smiled down at Max, who squealed, and again in pure joy, LJ, you're here, I chuckled, patting her tiny head with my massive claws, which would soon slash her in half, splattering that gorgeous crimson blood across the floor. I plastered a fake smile on my painted black lips, beaming down at her until a voice came behind me. Max, what are you doing? I turned around. My black orbs met the pairs of the cutest green eyes, the slightly covered with soft black bangs. Her beautiful body leaned against the dark wood of the looming pine tree. My cheeks flushed in heat slightly as I thought of what I could do to her. I wanted to want that mouth to moan my name, her hands going over every inch of my monochromatic body. I want her mine. She was not going to leave me. I will make sure of that. Who's that? I asked Max curiously, blushing, still tinting my cheeks pink. She turned around towards the girl and mouthed to answer, That's my cousin Deanna. Why? She asked, looking up back at me. Deanna, she's sexy, I muttered under my breath, with a slight smirk, licking my painted black lips. my onyx eyes focused on Deanna. Even her name is cute, I thought as Max turned around and faced Deanna once more. Deanna, what does sexy mean? My cheeks burned up pink along with Deanna's, hand stretching as she felt her cheeks heat up. I reached to Max's sleeve and gently tugged it as I breathed, Hey, Max, why don't you go inside and play, kiddo? Max turned around and beamed at me and said, Sure, EJ, let's go. She giggled and skipped playfully towards the door that we just exited from. I glanced towards Deanna, who was still blushing, a cute mess, before walking away, chuckling or cackling. You're going to be mine, Deanna. Deanna's point of view. Looking over at Max, who cheerfully skipped inside the door that she recently slammed open, I sighed and picked up myself off the backyard floor, dusted my blue shorts, and headed back inside. My ears perked at the sound of small tinkling of child laughter coming from upstairs. I crept upstairs and overheard a light flicker of a rhythm. I assumed that it was assuming it's them. A cold shiver crawled down my spine, making my steps and heartbeat quicken as I reached the cold metallic of the doorknob, twisting my grip, twisting it around. As the dark wood door swung open, I gazed down towards the papers littering the floor. There was nothing but childish scribbles on some things. A tall, monochromatic clown with raven black shaggy hair, shoulder length. His face was painted black, lips were curled in dagger-like grin. His black eyes bored into my face from the paper. He was dressed in eerie overalls, long sleeves, black and white stripes, shirts, and mangy raven feathers that sticked out from all angles on his shoulders. On top of that all, he had black and white striped clown nose. My cheeks blushed a soft pink as I picked up the paper. My green eyes followed the trail up to Max, who was lazily laying on the ground doodling something with a red crayon. Hey Max, who's this? I asked as she quickly took a look at the picture and declared, That's LJ. Oh, he drew something especially for you, she said, handing me a piece of paper. That made my eyes widen. It was a drawing in the same blood-colored crayon, a heart with a page scrawled with crayon and a black words across it saying, You're not leaving. Max turned to me, grinning. You know, LJ really likes you. Maybe you guys are gonna go get married and have lots of babies. Why shouldn't I say that? What do you mean, not yet, anyway? She asked, cocking her head in confusion towards her left-hand side. I sighed in frustration for a few seconds of returning to her drawings. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to my room. You have fun playing with LJ. I smiled nervously, backing out of the room as Max's stares bore into me. I left and closed the wooden door behind me. Still, that piece of paper from earlier scrunched up into my fist, my green eyes looking down as I unfolded it again, my eyes scanning the black and white picture with a red blush towards it. You're not leaving. Flashes through my mind. My pace quickens as towards my room, not aware of a shadow falling behind me. My body clashed on top of my comfy mattress. My mouth let out a soft sigh as I stared at the picture with half-lidded gaze. My eyes stared slowly down, drooping into the darkness of my dreams. LJ's point of view. I left Max's side, falling behind. Excuse me. Deanna's room, where she unfolded my artwork, staring at it a bit before plopping herself on her mattress. Looking at the picture again, with a little sigh, her eyes drooped as she wearily fell asleep. How predictably adorable. You thought you could escape or could fucking leave me behind sleeping? Well, princess, I'll show you that this is not a fucking dream. I chuckled under my breath. I stroked her cheeks. with my Ravenclaw fingers, restraining myself from slashing it open and letting her blood spill onto the floorboards. This would have to wait later. There's some things I want to do before I smirked and vanished in a cloud gray smoke, entering Deanna's dreams. Deanna's point of view. The slow, eerie melody of Jack's in the box that Max played rung through the air at my feet. The met cold gravel, fog surrounding my sight into an alleyway flickering of the coloring circus lights that I met with my green eyes. Towards a monochromatic tent looming over me, dwarfing me? It was shadowed. I stood up and stared at the bloodstained tent material, fear crawling into my gut. A low chuckle echoed within the circus tent, begging me for me to come and look for its owner. My feet shuffled towards the eerie, damp tent, ignoring the constant fear that crippled through my entire body. My sight was met with a single spotlight on the circus ring. Bloodstains dirtied the floor and equipment. My eyes widened in horror from underneath the black bangs that scanned over the spectator seats. Children. Guts, stringing like glittering decorations, spewed over the seats, the floors, even the ring. A hand slowly, roughly grabbed my arm, making me jump and pull me harshly down into a lap, making me look up in surprise, meeting a pair of charcoal orbs. It was male and black and white clown who looked similar to Max's drawing. Laughing Jack? I stuttered, watching him look down at me with a smirk. You can call me LJ, Deanna. Do you like my place? I decorated specially for you. He chuckled, sweeping his claws across the ring of dead, blood-stained children. I didn't respond. I can only stare at the pool of crimson blood. I felt LJ shift underneath me, trying to receive something out of his abnormally oversized pockets, and pulled out a multicolored lollipop, holding it close to my face. Do you want it? He asked, his black eyes skimming over me as I shook my head, making him growl slightly. It looks like I'm going to have to give you a different candy then, he growled, huskily, grabbing my chin with his thumb and his index finger, tilting it, making me look up at him. He smirked before leaning down and his mouth meeting my lips in a rough, passionate kiss. My eyes widened in confusion before soon melting into it. His tongue slipped in and dominated my mouth, like the intoxicated taste of sweet candy spread through my mouth as he explored it. His hand shifted, then stroked the small of my back. I let out a small moan of protest, pushing him lightly, watching the saliva string connecting our two lips snap as I did. What are you doing? LJ demanded, pushing me down on the wooden seat. I want you to let me out of here, I panted, watching him smirk down at me as his hips straddled mine. You're not leaving, princess. The show has only started, he breathed, kissing me swiftly again, before my vision blurred black, and I woke up panting. My green eyes widened. The voice chuckled lowly in my ear. Like I said, you're not leaving. So that is chapter 1 of You're Not Leaving of Laughing Jack. I hope you guys enjoy, and hopefully we'll continue reading chapter 2 or more chapters along the way. I will update as soon as I can. I'm currently working on the crossover of Homicipher and Jeff the Killer. I have it in its own Google Doc, so they cannot say it's not mine. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Please follow and like this video and subscribe to my channel if you guys want more creepypasta fanfictions out there. And also comment if you want me to use this method of reading fanfictions for you guys. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye.